Welcome to another episode of my story. She is bold, she is brave, she is beautiful. She wears many hats. She is an author, songwriter, worship leader, a humanitarian, and she sits today on the couch of my story. Also, CEO of Reveal Woman. Please welcome with me the beautiful Sabrina Kamembo.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. That introduction was very, very good.
When you hear that, you think, is that me?
I was almost like, I'm gonna tap out because she's not talking about me. I almost fell asleep and just
That's you.
I'm like, all right, that's me.
Sabrina, it is a pleasure having you here to tell your story. So born from Congolese parents, but born in South Africa, raised in South Africa. Here you are, young and beautiful and bold and brave and CEO of Reveal Woman. Talk to me about where you grew up and where you've journeyed and where you are right now.
Right. So I was born in South Africa, in Johannesburg. My parents came to South Africa a few years before I was born, and they got married in They met and got married in South Africa. And so I was born to refugee parents at the time. They were refugees. And then my dad left when I was around about 9. My parents got divorced. And then I was raised by a single mother. So I was raised by a refugee single mom. And we moved to Cape Town just as I turned 13. So just before my 13th birthday, I remember getting all our stuff and relocating to Cape Town. So I've only so far lived in 2 places, so Johannesburg and Cape Town.
I'm not even going to ask you which is the best city of the two.
Yeah. Let's not go there.
Yeah, we'll leave that for another time.
Yeah.
Sabrina, so I met you online. It's the first time we're meeting in person.
And I feel like I've known you for so long.
And I feel like I've known you for so long too. And I've stalked you and I befriended you and then I watched you. And then you have this movement, this woman movement called Reveal Woman. So tell us about Reveal Woman and tell us what is the aim and the goal and the ministry behind Reveal Woman.
I think I first want to start off by saying that Reveal Woman was birthed out of my story first. I think from my journey of healing and discovering who God is and what he thinks of me, then turned into what my ministry is, that I want everyone to know and to discover what I've discovered about God and what I've discovered about what he thinks about me, what healing looks like, what spiritual health looks like. So Reveal Woman was created to invest and empower women from all walks of life, but to also give place, purpose, and value on the everyday woman and the everyday Christian woman. And so I remember the launch, when we had a launch kind of party, and I gave a little chat or sermon on the power of a woman who has a revelation, who knows who she is. I spoke about Mary, and when Mary discovered that she was pregnant with Jesus, nobody understood, nobody knew, but she had a word and she had a revelation, and that was what made her powerful, because she kept going because she knew what God said. And so Reveal Woman focuses on your relationship with God, empowering you and teaching you how to have that deep intimacy with God. And then from that, I'd say vertical relationship, you're then able to have that horizontal relationship with the community and with people, and you then go out and be what you're called to be. So in a nutshell, that's what Reveal Woman is. And so all our events, our programs, our everything that we do is centered around that, placing value on the everyday woman.
Phew, that was a mouthful and that was wonderfully said. Tell me about your songwriting and worship leading and just your creativity. You are a creative.
I am.
And of course we know where it comes from, but what kind of inspired you to kind of use all that gifting for God's glory, the singing, the worshiping, the songwriting.
And how it is. As a young girl, I always struggled with that because I think from a young age I was actually blessed to kind of know what God wanted me to do with my life, but it was a lot. So I remember every time people would ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I would always say a singer. That was the first thing I'd say. But as I grew, there is that which is another part or layer of my life, the legal side, to become a lawyer, international human rights lawyer, to fight for the rights of women and children, which that we don't have to get into that, but that's a different aspect. And then you have the songwriting, and then you have the just creating, whether it's film or whatever it is. Those are all layers, and how they kind of meet together. That's what I had to learn. I had to learn how they each complement each other. And so I wouldn't say that I chose it. God chose it. You're right?
Yeah.
But I had to discover what it is that he wanted me to do. And in obedience, every day, I'm learning how they all intertwine. They all, I'm involved in all these different things. And for example, with songwriting and releasing music, I'm also able to do the legal side of it without hiring someone else to do it. So it's somehow
That's another
right?
hat.
And even with my organization, like that's my first client, Reveal Women, which I do all the paperwork, all the legal things as well. So they actually all complement each other. And so it's really just about positioning yourself and understanding that I'm a child of God first. I'm called for greater. Yes. And in that greater calling, there are tasks every day that he tells me to do, which fulfills the greater purpose and calling.
So while stalking you, on your Instagram page, you say, leadership is a calling, not a title. Elaborate on that.
I think in society today, we live with the assumption that we need titles in order to be. I think even with starting Reveal Women, I think there was the first fear that I felt was that who's going to trust me? I don't have the title of pastor, or I don't have the title of leader. I'm basically stepping into a position that in the eyes of the world I've created for myself, but it's God called me. So I'm doing what God said. And it's not because I have a title. Titles come after, and titles are just something that the world needs to recognize you, or to to open doors, but that's not actually what makes you. And so we live in a society today where there's more emphasis placed on what your title is and not what your calling is. And so people get missed, or people miss their opportunities and their calling because they're so focused on what they don't have and what title they don't have. Meanwhile, if you're called, you just have to go for it. And so you have to step into it. It's not about title, it's a calling. And you have people who have titles but don't have the calling, which also gets dangerous. But you have to know that it's not because of a title that you do what you do, it's because you're called to do it, which emphasizes that.
You also say, Sabrina, leadership means servanthood. God is the one who calls, and you've just clarified that for us. Leadership means servanthood. Just recently, you had what you call Table 2021. Talk to us about that. Talk to our viewers about Table 2021. What is the aim of Table 2021? I was part of the online viewers, and it blew me away. And so share with us what your heart and what your calling is around Table 2021.
Right. So the table, it's called the Table Business and Leadership Seminar, which I think it was the very first time I thought about it was, I think it was 5 years ago, where I was sitting and I was journaling, and I just had this image of women sitting around a big table. And these women, it wasn't about titles. It was about their backgrounds, and it was about their experiences, and it was about just their life journeys. And they all sat around at the table, and they were coming up with solutions to build the world and to build society, to heal, to take over, the world, and they really understood what their purpose was. And I saw single moms. I saw women who are refugees, women who are career women in corporate, women who are creative. I saw all of these women gathering around the table, and they all complement each other. And so where one woman wasn't able to, fulfill something, she didn't understand something, the other woman would help her, and she would understand, and then she would do the same. And that's the idea of the table, that whoever you are, you have a seat at the table, not because of your title, but because God said and who you are. And so the table business, though it's called a business and leadership seminar, it's not just for business owners and leaders per se in terms of title. It's just empowering you to be who you're called to be in your sphere, and knowing that you have a place at the table. And so sitting at the table, but also creating a table for others. So you don't have to wait for the table to be created for you. You have the opportunity to create one yourself.
So in your conference that you just had, I think it must have been just about over a week ago, if not a little bit longer.
Yes. About 2 weeks ago.
There was this beautiful woman from all walks of life sitting around a table and having a conversation.
Right.
It was influencers. I want to remember this well. There was influencers. You had a beautiful girl live from Paris.
Yes.
She was a stylist or a model.
Fashion designer.
Remind us of the other ladies.
We had models, we had actresses.
There was an actress, a local South African actress.
Yes. There were people in corporate, NGO owners, writers, authors, radio show hosts, everyday girls, people who have had the opportunity and have felt the urge to step out of their comfort zone and just doing it. So they were actually, if you go and listen to their stories, you will see that they're just ordinary people who just stepped out.
Yes.
And in the world they look extraordinary.
Yes.
It's just like you and me, who feel a call, and you just step out and you do what you're called to do.
What I loved about that, Sabrina, the round table talk, was that each and every one had a story, and they all loved the Lord.
Yes.
Because they gave testimonies about how they met the Lord through their challenges, through ups and downs, highs and lows. And the one thing that they all had in common was the love for the Father God, which I loved. And they openly and honestly and very vulnerably spoke about that, which I loved. And so thank you for that. So what's next for Reveal Woman?
What's next?
What's next on Sabrina, the creative? What is God saying to you? What's the future looking like?
In terms of Reveal Woman,
Yes.
I think stay tuned for the Single Ladies Retreat. We have a Single Ladies Retreat that focuses on equipping and empowering women in the single season. So when we hear singleness, sometimes you get that feel of, I'm not married yet, but it's actually, and again, that's why it comes from my personal story, where God showed me that being single, my single season is actually a season where he's building. The waiting season is never in vain. So in that waiting season, you have the responsibility to be setting the right foundation. Because when you're married, that's when you start building.
Yes.
But a lot of young women, especially today, don't understand that the single season is not just for play. It's not just, you're not just cruising about life. You have to be intentionally creating a solid foundation so that when you are married, so what does your prayer life look like?
Yes.
What does your friendship circle look like?
That.
What is your vision? What is it that your character, are you bringing certain things into your marriage that are actually going to repeat the cycle of, the mistakes that your parents made? Are you bringing in trauma? Are you healing? Are you, and so those are the things that God was speaking to me. And so that's what Single Ladies Retreat is. It focuses a few days away at a random location, and we have fun and we talk about God, but we create solid friendships, which is one of the highlights of the year for me. But we have great guest speakers as well. We learn new things, and it's just an incredible experience. So that's coming in January. So you can stay glued to our website, our social media, where we make all our announcements. But of course, the table 2022, hopefully we get to do it in person, because that was always the vision. So hopefully it's not going to be online next year,
Lord.
but yes, Lord, please. But if it is definitely still happening, whether online or in person, so you can definitely stay tuned to that. And we also have mentorship programs where you can sign up and you receive a mentor. Some are happening in groups. Some in person. We will be announcing a few new things soon, but the mentorship programs focus on specific things, so whether it's purpose or building a business or leadership or healing. Our mentorship program is called the Holistic Woman, and so it focuses on a woman as a whole. So mental health, business, physical, emotional, fitness, everything. So we are working on that, so stay tuned for that as well. And stay tuned to our shop as well. We have a shop called Reveal Shop Co. That's where you can get a lot of our merchandise, and a few things are coming soon as well.
Look at you, Sabrina, a busy lady all the time.
For the Lord.
Always creating, always doing, always busy. And as we wrap, I want to go to Woman of the Valley, where you play a big part and a big role in. You've walked alongside Woman of the Valley for the past couple of years. And this year, please tell our audience and our viewers what your role is in Woman of the Valley online conference this year.
So I stepped in to join the team of Women of the Valley as creative director. So all the elements, so co-host and creative. So I co-host alongside Tam. We plan together and just host the conference together. But I think a lot of what it entails is my role as creative director. So all the imagery, all the songs, all the just everything that you see and every story that you see and how it comes together. So that's my role. So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
And then you're also one of the main speakers.
I am speaking this.
And the theme, remind us again.
The theme is radiate. Lord, show me your glory. With the spirit of the Lord there is freedom. So the main theme is radiating God's glory. Because last year we did step into the light, and so it's transitioning from what happens when you step into the light. You go out into the world and you radiate God's glory. So yeah, I'm very excited about that.
And the conference date for viewing?
On the 30th of October, and you can go to womenofthevalley.co.za to register. It's free, so you don't have to pay anything. It's so free, and it really is the most incredible experience. It's been prayed over. It's prophetic. So we do believe that everything that will be spoken about it's going to change your life. It's intentional.
Changing lives.
Everything that's been planned, everything that's been going on in the background. Man, I cannot tell you. You just have to be there for yourself.
Love it. Love it. Sabrina, thank you for being on the couch today. Thank you for coming to tell your story. And thank you for what you're doing with Reveal Woman and touching lives out there.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, won't you please like, share, and subscribe? And we'll see you next time on the set of My Story.